Human history has proven over centuries that is not always fair. Not a few times, instances have been recorded about stolen ideas that they were not patented. This is what happened with Antonio Muecci. He was the one who invented the phone, but Graham Bell took all the credits. But who really was this unique and mysterious man? Antonio was the eldest child of 9 children. He grew up in Florence. In November 1821, poor but ambitious, at the age of 15, he was admitted to Florence Academy of Fine Arts, as the youngest student in mechanical classes. In 1830, he started working as a stage designer and technician for various theaters, but soon he obtained a position at the famous Pergola Theater in Florence. Muecci was really fascinated by scientific research of any kind. He would read every scientific tract he could get his hands on. During 1833 he was imprisoned for 3 months with the accusation of conspiring with the Italian unification movement. But even then, he didn't lose his hope. He took his loving wife and immigrated to Cuba, to start over. And he did. His passion drove him to invent a whole new method of galvanizing metals which he applied to military equipment for the Cuban government. At the same time, he developed a method of using electric shocks to treat illness. One day, while preparing to administer a treatment, Muecci heard an exclamation of his friend, who was in the next room, over the piece of copper wire running between them. The inventor realized immediately that he held in his hand something much more important than any other discovery he had ever made. After that, he spent the next 10 years bringing the principle to a practical stage. The first telegrafo parlante, or talking telegraph, was a fact. That was going to be the beginning of a revolutionary invention. There was a tragic explosion on the steamship Westfield returning from New York where he was seriously injured. Muecci went in the hospital with serious burns and his wife sold most of the designs and models including the telephone prototype in order to pay the expenses. After a while, Muecci tried to buy these precious objects back. They were bought by an unknown young man whose identity remains a mystery to this day. It was the same period that he had to renew his registration for his patent. But not only he had lost it, but he was totally broke. 5 years later, in 1876, the young and rich Graham Bell, who had worked for a while with Antonio Muecci, used the same patent with a different name. He called it graphophone. Was it a random event? The conclusion is yours. It took 130 years until the truth was exposed. On June 11, 2002, the United States Congress acknowledged Italian immigrant Antonio Muecci as the true inventor of the telephone.